Since Reconstruction, elected to the Senate from Mississippi. That is a toss-up in the state of Mississippi there. And let's take a look at that House race. We were talking about Kentucky 6. This is the race that will be a harbinger of whether the Democrats are going to have a wave or a smaller race there. And of course, Amy McGrath, the special recruit there because she's a former Marine Corps pilot, Naval Academy graduate. She flew 89 combat missions in Afghanistan and Iraq. We'll talk more about that race in just a second because I know we have some reporting on that. But real quickly, Jeff Pegues as well. He spent some time at the Department of Homeland Security looking for any signs of foreign interference in the election. Jeff, we heard so much about this concern about the Russians and the Chinese. What's happening tonight?
Well, yeah, one word that we haven't talked about tonight is cyber attacks. You know, there's been this concern over the last couple of years since 2016 of the possibility of a cyber attack interfering with an election like this one. And so since 2016, the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies across this country, both state and local, have been working to secure these elections. And so far today, what we are being told by DHS officials is they have not seen an uptick in any scanning or probing activity related to election systems across the country. So that's good news. They're also saying that they're not seeing the same level of attempts at interference that they saw in 2016 from the Russians. So that's good news as well. And so they have these command centers set up across the federal government looking for signs of malicious activity. And so far, Nora, they just have not seen it.
All right, Jeff Pegues, thank you. Bob Schieffer joins us now at the table covering his 25th election here at CBS News.
How great is this?
Yeah, I know.
Lucky are we.
Lucky us. Yeah.
Proud to be here.
Yes. The
Proud to be anywhere.
The CBS stage.
Feeling okay, Bob?
I'm feeling fine.
It's going to be a long night.
Well, you've been here. You've watched so many of these elections, and here you have President Trump has got a great economy, yet he didn't really run on this economy.
This is the thing that is just dumbfounded most people in politics. I mean, every president, when he's presiding over a good economy, first wants to take absolute and complete credit for it. Nothing happened before he got there, had anything to do with it. And yet, the president has a legitimate right to talk about how good the economy is right now, about unemployment being so low. And yet he has chosen to talk about those
immigration.
WTOC's coverage of Campaign 2018 is sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this election night coverage, for joining us. This is a live look. This is live, folks, checking out one of the polling locations in Pooler, where people who were in line to vote by 7 p.m. are still waiting to vote 2 hours later. The line was out the door, now inside the building, but as you can see, people still, 2 hours after the polls supposed to close, people still waiting to cast their ballot. And those votes are being counted, but it is going to be a long election night, especially in the race for Georgia governor. Republican Brian Kemp facing Democrat Stacey Abrams.
Well, here's a look at the results so far. Kemp's camp centers around keeping a good thing going. He is focused on building on the momentum in place by current Governor Nathan Deal. One of Stacey Abrams' top campaign platforms is expanding Medicaid in Georgia. She's hosting an election night watch party in downtown Atlanta at the Hyatt Regency right now, and our Right Gazaway is there live.
Guys, doors opened here in Atlanta about a half hour ago. The event will start here in the next couple of minutes. I should point out, though, it is expected to be a very late night here. Within the last hour, a federal judge ordered that a Fulton County polling precinct will actually stay open until 10 o'clock. With the already expected tight margin in this race and some of the later voting, folks here are in for a very late night. As for Mrs. Abrams, I'm told that she'll make her appearance a little bit later on in the night. Her camp did not give a very specific time, but they said it would be closer towards the end of this race. As you can see, though, a very large crowd awaiting the speaker to come out and start the festivities. It would start around 9 o'clock. And I should point out, this crowd is very diverse in terms of both race and age. And just a huge crowd. The lines have been building for about an hour or two outside. Now they're starting to let them in, and a lot of people here are hoping they can witness history with Stacey Abrams' victory. We'll be here through the night, and we'll give you a look as the event gets started. For now, though, live in Atlanta, Right Gazaway, WTOC News.
Again, if you're just joining us, our Danielle Lewan is live in Athens, where we bring us live updates from Brian Kemp's election night party at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Athens throughout the night.
And we do want to take a look at the race for Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, another big race we are keeping an eye on. It's between Democratic candidate Sarah Riggs Amico and Republican candidate Jeff Duncan. Right now, with only 18% of the precincts reporting, Jeff Duncan has the lead, getting about 60% of the vote. Jeff Duncan, a former state representative. Amico runs a trucking company, and she could make history if she would overcome that deficit at this point as being the first woman elected as lieutenant governor.
After the race for Georgia's governor is over, Brian Kemp will vacate his current position of Secretary of State. The top two that are competing to replace him are Democrat John Barrow and Republican Brad Raffensperger. Also, the Libertarian Smythe Duval. Now, Duval was also on the ballot for this race, and right now, as you can see, the Republican is winning this race at 58%.
It's going to be a long night. We'll have the results in that ticker at the bottom of your screen. Also, check out WTOC.com for the latest results.